Welcome to Latte with a Lawyer, a podcast dedicated to bringing you the stories of some of America's most successful lawyers, figuring out what makes them tick, how they creatively solve problems, and how others, aspiring to be them, can follow in their footsteps.
Welcome to another episode of Latte with a Lawyer. I'm your host, Jonathan Brickman, and this afternoon from St. Louis, we got Darin Sorrell with the law firm Sorrell and Trabi. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jonathan.
Oh, you bet. Latte with the Lawyer. First question, what's your morning beverage to get started?
So maybe it's apposite to say that I don't drink latte, but Coke Zero is my beverage of choice.
Coke Zero. All right.
Caffeine kick in the morning.
A lot of Coke drinkers on this show, so you're not alone. All right, very good. So tell everybody the type of law you guys practice, about your law firm.
I do personal injury and workers' compensation. There's two other attorneys here. All three of us are St. Louis natives and practice exclusively in the St. Louis area.
Okay. Any particular type of focus in the personal injury, or is that the workers' comp?
So personal injury, probably the biggest chunk of what we do is auto accidents,
Okay.
but there's a lesser amount of premises liability and other miscellaneous personal injury matters as well.
Okay.
And the occasional, maybe non-physical injury tort case.
Tort case?
Yeah, tort case. I think when you ask kind of your background questions, what was my most memorable case? The woman who came home and the wrong house was torn down.
Oh,
So
that's a bummer.
Yeah.
So how did that one play out? Let's talk about that one.
So yeah, that was an interesting case. It was like maybe the first month of COVID, a client I'd represented maybe 15 years ago, she calls me and she says, "Hey, my mom needs your help." I said, "Okay, well, what's up?" And she says, "Well, my mom's house got torn down." I thought to myself, well, okay. And I didn't jump to conclusions. I'm glad I didn't, because I said, well, have your mom call me. So her mom calls. And so sure enough, her mom comes home and there's tractors and equipment tearing her house down. She thinks, what's going on here, guys? And they said, well, isn't this 123 Main Street? And she's like, no, that's next door. I'm at 121. And they look at the work order, and sure enough, they were supposed to tear down the other house.
Oh boy.
So I actually handled that as kind of a low bono case, a very reduced fee. It was very interesting, all the intricacies of that particular case.
Yeah. So how did that play out then? I mean, what were the damages in that case? Yeah.
So her entire house was torn down by that point, and as in an area of St. Louis where we were able to establish the value of the house fairly simply, fairly easily, because the house was, I think, it was on the same block anyway, very similar footprint, had sold recently, and I think the house that sold was only 25,000, because it's not in a ritzy area of St. Louis,
Okay.
But she had to document her contents, which would be hard for me. What are the contents of my house? Well, I own a washing machine, but I don't know if it's a Maytag or a Kenmore. Same with the dryer. My two refrigerators, I don't know. But I said, just document as best you can what all your proceeds were. And for me, how many suits do I own? I don't know, 10. And how many ties do I own? Several hundred, right? But documenting each one, who made it, I couldn't do that if I had to, especially if it's all in the rubble.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I assume they weren't contesting. The other side didn't contest with insurance.
Well, they ultimately did not, but our friends at the construction company initially, once we tracked down who the construction company was, they ignored my letter, ended up filing suit. That got their attention, got their insurance company involved. And then not too long thereafter, we ended up getting that resolved for an amount that was very satisfactory to my client.
Okay. Yeah. That's quite a case. I can't imagine you had one that was more interesting than that one.
Well, I think probably the might have one possibly that also involved bricks. I had a case where a building hit a car. You heard me right. We hear about cars hitting buildings all the time, including a fire truck that came that close to hitting a house in St. Louis today with the ice. But a different client, she had parked at a restaurant, left her sister in the car, came out, and there's a pile of bricks where her car was. And it was a condemned building that fell on her car. And thank God her sister wasn't seriously injured, but had some soft tissue injuries. And we found that that building had been condemned. So we were able to proceed with a negligence claim against the owner. But those are kind of aberrations. Typical rear end auto accident is not as exciting as those two brick cases.
Yeah, for sure. I've been to St. Louis a few times, run down to the arches there on whatever the main street. I can't even remember. What's the main street that in St. Louis?
Well, Market is the main east-west that dead ends right at the arch. And
Yeah, Market.
North-south.
Okay. Yeah. But it's been some time since I've been there. And that's where you grew up? You grew up in St. Louis?
Yeah, I lived all over St. Louis, never more than about 20 miles from the Gateway Arch, but born in North St. Louis County, went to high school right across the river in Jefferson County, which is 5 miles from St. Louis County. Live in St. Louis County now. Went to undergrad and law school in St. Louis.
Yeah, I saw the St. Louis University. Anyone else in your family? Lawyers? Well, how'd you become a lawyer? How'd you decide that?
Yeah, excellent question. My uncle is a lawyer and still is. He's 78 years old, still practices. But I hadn't really thought about being a lawyer in college, except for two of my professors in undergrad, just said, "Hey, you're very analytical. Have you thought about going to law school?" And I thought, well, hadn't really thought about it, but I respected both of them. And so I think that's what pushed me into it. And then I started interning for my uncle summer after sophomore year of college and really got interested in the law. And so that's how I ended up in law school.
Okay. And then when you came out, always on the personal injury side?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay. And how'd you make that decision? I mean, you just fell into that, or that was what your uncle was doing?
That's what my uncle was doing, and it always seemed interesting. And even the cases where there aren't great stories attached to them, those are still interesting fact patterns. And people that have been dumped on their entire lives need help, and it's gratifying to help them.
Yeah. So what is it that drives you? What are you working for? What's the passion?
So I like the challenge of just being able to attack maybe standing norms. People, like I said, people have been dumped on their entire life that are being had something bad happen to them.
Yeah.
And how can I achieve a result for them that is satisfactory to them?
But is it always people that have been dumped on? I mean, or is it just, could it be anybody that got in an accident? And
anyone, yes. But,
sure.
It seems like a lot of I do represent a lot of people that maybe don't have the greatest education. Maybe have a 10th grade education from St. Louis City Public Schools, and they need a big firm may not be interested in a small case like that, but I enjoy the challenge there.
Yeah. Now I wonder about that, if there is a correlation between the claims and sort of your status in life. Yeah. It seems like they may be. My mother was actually a school teacher, believe it or not, in St. Louis school system many years ago.
Yeah.
She did a little stint there. My dad was a resident, I think, at Barnes Hospital in St. Louis.
Yeah, that's about a mile southwest of me.
Okay. Yeah. It was that the world was a very different place back then. In fact, if you were pregnant, you couldn't even teach back then.
Right.
You weren't allowed to teach.
Yeah.
So the world definitely changed, because we're from the East Coast, and I think it was a bit of it was a sort of a change of thinking for my parents out there. I remember them talking about it. So anyway, what's St. Louis like these days?
So the hockey, the Blues aren't doing real well. The
Yeah.
Cardinals had our first losing season in 33 years, but other than that, and the ice that we had today, which snow is one thing, but ice is just terrible.
Yeah. Is that normal in St. Louis to get those ice storms?
Once or twice a year, just because we're always hovering right around 32 degrees, and
Mm.
it rained overnight, but it was 28 degrees, and so just a glaze of ice. And
Oh boy.
my driveway is 2 cars long, and I
Mm.
pull out of the driveway, and my anti-lock brakes were just chattering the whole 30 feet down the driveway. I'm like, please God, don't let another car be coming down, because there's nothing I can do.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
fortunately, I was able to pull out on the street, and the street was fine by that time.
Oh, good. I remember those days are in my rearview mirror. I live in South Florida now, but I grew up in Boston, so I'm very familiar with that feeling.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, exactly. You hope there's no one in your path.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah. But St. Louis, I guess, has real winters. They also get really hot in summer too, right?
Right. Yeah. I had commented last week when it was like -7. We're one of the few places in the United States, if not the world, that every year we get over 100. Every year we get below 0. We get earthquakes. We get tornadoes. We get hurricane remnants. We get hail. We get everything.
Oh, nice. So it's a good place to live, is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
if you like a variety of weather, and the joke in St. Louis, if you don't like the weather, wait a few days. Let's see, was it Saturday? It was 7 degrees, and then this coming Thursday it'll be 50 degrees.
Nice.
Yeah,
Very nice.
nice swing.
Oh boy. So 3 lawyers and everybody's doing the same thing, personal injury,
Yeah.
workers' comp.
Yep.
Do you guys get in the courtroom? Do you try cases?
Yeah. Yes, we all do.
Oh, good. How often do you get in the courtroom?
So not as much since COVID, because even workers' compensation, there's fewer in-person settings. But before COVID, I would try 2 to 3 civil cases a year,
Oh, nice.
which doesn't seem like a lot. But I was at a CLE, and a judge in St. Louis County said he had tried 8 cases that year, and I thought, my gosh, I did 25% of those just myself.
Yeah. No, 2 to 3 during a year, I think it is a good load,
Yeah,
right? Because they all take a lot of time, right?
they do. Yeah.
Yeah. And how's your batting average in the courtroom?
I would say pretty good.
Good.
Considering I have taken cases that are 0 offered a trial, and it's one of those nothing ventured, nothing gained. But I'm not afraid to take one that may lose but may win. It's one of those. Again, I enjoy the challenge, and one time I tried a case, and I don't know, 3 or 4 years later, a guy calls me. He says, "Hey, you sued me once." I said, "Oh, okay." I said, "What's your name?" And he told me, and I thought, "Oh yeah, that was represented, Mrs. Jones against you." He says, "I had an accident." I said, "Yeah," and I thought to myself, "I know." He said, "But I just had one last week, and I like the way you fought for your lady, because I didn't think she was hurt." I'm like, well, with all due respect, I thought to myself, you didn't examine her, but he wanted me to represent her just because he remembered me suing him.
Oh, that's good. That's excellent.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So how do you approach it? Like, how do you get ready for a jury trial case?
Well, start with the jury instructions. What exact instruction do I need? On a rear end auto accident, I think it's 1716. But just look at what are the elements of the claim, and what do I need to prove? And I need to take the doctor's deposition to tie up causation and everything, and then just make sure that my client is ready, and just tell them, hey, they're going to be throwing everything at you. Most important thing, don't get upset about it.
Right.
The best advice I can give anyone is the Boy Scout motto: be prepared.
Yeah. But I mean, you got to convince the jury, right? A jury doesn't act just on facts and figures, right?
Right.
So how do you get ready for that? How do you make sure that you're resonating the right way?
Well, it's just knowing that your case is you're on the side of the right, and There are times where, say there's no damage to the car, just need to, maybe weed those people out in voir dire. Hey, is anyone here think that, there's, would you be prejudiced if there's no damage to the car? Would you have trouble believing that somebody was hurt? And just knowing, hey, what do I need to do to convince that person, that prospective juror, if I don't strike them? But it's one of those, sometimes especially soft tissue claims are somewhat difficult for people to believe. But when that's the only evidence that there is, it's a matter of, hey, ladies and gentlemen, your verdict must be limited to what you hear in this case. Put aside any personal preference that you have. And most of the time, jury finds the right way, in my opinion.
Yeah. What happens when you can't weed out the person that has some bias because you haven't found it, and you got to deal with them in the jury pool?
Well, in that case, you hope that your verdict's 9-3. That if it's 8-4, okay, they got to go back and deliberate, because in Missouri, 9 out of 12 have to.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be unanimous in Missouri.
Okay.
State court anyway.
What about liability? Does it have to be 100% or?
No. In Missouri, it's pure comparative fault. So even if somebody, my client, let's say had very serious injuries, but they were 90% at fault, they could, if a jury found that they were 90% at fault and the other driver was 10%, my client would still get 10% of the value of their claim.
I see. Okay. Very good. Interesting. Do you ever do mock trials or focus groups?
I have not. It's not that I've ruled it out necessarily. It's just a matter of, is this particular case I'm getting ready for, would I benefit or my client benefit from the practice?
Yeah.
And usually I can prepare my client well enough to understand. And if the stakes are big enough and my client seems nervous, then maybe I would spend a lot of my client's money to have a focus group or something. But if it's a $20,000 case, I don't want to spend $10,000 of my client's money on a focus group.
Yeah, that makes sense for sure. So what do you think makes you a good lawyer, successful, besides being prepared like the Boy Scouts?
So you have to be analytical. And, I've always been, I guess, for lack of a better word, an overachiever. I mentioned Boy Scouts a couple times. I'm an Eagle Scout with a bronze palm,
Nice.
which is 5 additional merit badges and 6 additional months of service after I got my Eagle Scout. Graduated from college in 3.5 years, just because I figured I'm paying for 18 hours, may as well take 18 credits every semester. I had perfect attendance in high school just because I didn't feel a need to skip, and thank God wasn't sick too much. But I've just always enjoyed a challenge. Whatever there is, you can skate through life, or you can try the hard things.
No, interesting. Where do you think that came from, the work ethic?
So probably my parents. So neither of my parents had a college degree. My mom was a secretary and worked in not officially accounting, but bookkeeping at a tool and equipment rental. And my dad was a mechanic by training, but my dad always worked 5, 6, 10-hour days just to provide for us, and just tried everything he could just to get us everything that we needed.
Yeah, nice. I saw the Ayn Rand reference here in your background. Talk about that a little bit. I've read a couple of her books.
Yeah. So let's see. You're talking about the one on my
I
website.
said you're the co-founder of the Ayn Rand Society of St. Louis.
Yeah.
I thought that was an interesting tidbit.
Right. So we'd get together and talk about a book that may or may not have been written by Ayn Rand, but
and I realize I pronounced it incorrectly. It's
no,
Ayn Rand. Yeah.
A lot of people do. In my website, I have a lot of lawyers have quotes, and one of my quotes is from the book Atlas Shrugged. It was Hank Rearden's trial, and he said, what you're doing is wrong. And the quote that I have on my website, when you violate the rights of one man, you have violated the right of all. And a public of rightless creatures is doomed to destruction. So, and that's, the individuality, every person is an individual, and, regardless of, their situation, they're entitled to redress of their grievances, even if it isn't the biggest case in the world.
Right. Yeah, no, I read Atlas Shrugged, and what was the other one, the popular? No,
Probably the Fountainhead is
the Fountainhead. I didn't read the Fountainhead. I read Atlas Shrugged years ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. She's was quite a force.
Yeah.
Interesting. So is that part of your philosophy? Is that why you were sort of what's the right word?
Helping the individual rather than
the individual.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. What else? The firm with COVID, I know a lot of people sort of shifted and leaned more on technology to sort of make sure they got through that period. How have you guys changed in that regard?
Well, it's always been a personal connection with our clients. A lot of my clients don't have sophisticated equipment, and so I would go into the office every day during COVID, because there were clients that maybe didn't have a computer, maybe couldn't understand, download a PDF of, say, their settlement release or things like that, and so I would need to meet with them in person, and it's just part of the job. Would it be easier if everybody had that not only technology but know-how? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But some people are barely hanging on to their house, and so they don't have a laptop.
I meant more internally to run your practice. I mean, you guys using some of the new tools? For example, Even Up has got a demand letter platform that uses AI, et cetera.
Well, I still like to have my finger in the pie, proverbially speaking. Just know, because keeps me sharp. What do I need to have in here? I can take shortcuts, but I'd rather make sure that it's done the right way.
Okay. So when you go into a courtroom, you don't have any of these new technology devices with you? You do?
Well, so I mean, there are certain things that I can, I like to be able to access, on my phone, certainly. But, in the end, all the decisions are going to have to be made up here. And, all the tools in the world aren't going to help if you don't know how to apply those, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Last week I taught a CLE for BAMSL, the Bar Association of Metro St. Louis. I called it Algebra for Lawyers. Talked about all the different mathematical formulas that we use. And one of my friends beforehand said, well, can't we, look those up on the computer? So what if the internet's down? What if you're in an old building that is coated lead paint, so it's essentially a bomb shelter? You don't have Wi-Fi. You need to know, how do I convert miles per hour into feet per second? Granted, there is a Court of Appeals case that takes judicial notice that's 1.46 times, but how do you figure that out? Certain things, I went through all the formulas that we use in workers' compensation. How do you figure out pro rata distribution on an interpleader? You need to know how to do that. And, there's formulas you can do, but what if you plug something into the formula, and what if it's obviously wrong, but you don't think about it? You just say, oh, well, my program did it. Well, your program's wrong. Then you're in trouble, much like the attorney that used AI to create a brief with bogus citations. No, you need to make sure that it's right. And I always double check my math.
Yeah. And what was the response to that?
Everyone was very receptive to the CLE. And so I was at an event at SLU, an alumni event on Thursday, and got an email from somebody who I didn't know, but the name sounded familiar, and said that his wife was a teacher and wanted to know if she could have my slides. And I responded, I said, I can do one better. I'd be happy to talk to the students. And so then next morning I get into the office, and it's killing me. Why does this name ring a bell, but I don't know this person. Turns out he's a federal magistrate judge in the Eastern District of Missouri. And so I don't remember seeing him on the attendance list, but one of his colleagues was. And so maybe the first judge said to the second one, "Hey, your wife's a math teacher. Would reach out to this guy?" And so that was kind of cool.
Oh, that is cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that an in-person event?
It was in person. Yes.
Oh, it was. Okay. How many people attend those regional
That
events?
one was about 20, and
Okay.
I had a little interactive. I bought a bag of Smarties, and so I had a couple, softball questions, and somebody answered, answered one correctly, and so I throw them a Smartie just for fun.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Now, listen, it is kind of frightening that a lot of those basic skills are kind of gone now, right? Because,
Mhm.
you ask Google or ChatGPT or you plug it into some computer and people can't do basic math.
Right, but the fancy tools. Okay, I get on an airplane and I'm flying to wherever, and the pilot's like, "Oh, I got autopilot. Just push the button." What if that fails? I want somebody that knows how to do it the right way. They have all these tools, but tools fail.
Yeah, they do.
Granted, mines do as well, but you need to be able to double check.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. Listen, I was an engineering student and, one of the things you're always taught is like, just at least see if it's in the ballpark, right? You'd
Mhm.
always like, if there was an answer, is it even in the ballpark? Like the reasonable test before
Right.
so, but you had to be able to sort of apply basic concepts
Mhm.
to everything. So I agree with you, and I like to know how things work too, because you're right. It's a kind of a fail-proof approach instead of relying on something that may fail at any point.
Yeah.
So I'm with you on that. I'm not sure those skills are going to continue, unfortunately, with leveraging technology so much. I think.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't have a lot of skills to be worthwhile on a deserted island, but if I am in a old courthouse with and the only cell tower nearby goes out, I can still do my job as opposed to somebody that relies solely on their cell phone, for example.
That's true. I've heard plaintiff attorneys kind of joke about it anyway, about the math. Only math they need to know is like 1/3.
Well, and I've heard that too, but it's a lot more complicated than that,
Yeah.
especially when okay, what if we have 8 people in an accident and the person that caused the accident only had a $50,000 policy? How do we split that up? Do we just divide it by 8, or do we say, hey, do it pro rata according to whose medical bills are highest? And usually when I'm involved in one of those, I take the lead because nobody wants to do it, and it's not that hard. Not that hard for me. I just, hey, A, B, C, your medical bills are this is what you get if we did pro rata. And most people, eyeball it and say, yeah, your math is close enough. Okay, that's fine. But I show my work. Hey, everybody gets 1.4 times their medical or whatever. But a lot of people don't know how to figure that out. But once I figure it out for them and say, hey, we know everybody's medical. I figured out it's 1.4. You do the math. Is your client getting 1.4? Is everybody getting 1.4 or whatever number I computed?
Yeah, nice. Were you a math major as an undergrad?
I was not. No, I was a political science. I started as communications, mass communications. Wanted to go into broadcasting. I wanted to either succeed Jack Buck or Tom Brokaw, but neither of those happened. But one of my mass communications professors said, "You may think about going to law school," and well, political science might be better. And so I flip-flop my major and my minor, end up majoring in political science and minoring in communication. But no, I didn't take, but I took two math classes in undergrad. Just you had to have one math and one science, and then one either math or science in addition. So I liked them both, but it was, chose the second math instead of the second science.
There you go. They're useful. I like math. Math is good. Statistics is good. You can use that in real life.
Mhm.
And so those are good things to know. All right, good stuff. Just, final words for the audience about that you want to leave with the firm, about your firm and the best way to connect with you.
I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. Just
Yeah.
any final words you want to leave with the audience about the firm, best way to connect with you?
Best way to connect with me, the firm's website is sorrelltrabi.com, and just click on our lawyers, click on my name, and my contact information is on there. If anyone has any questions, I would always be happy to talk to them. Getting back to the magistrate judge whose wife is a math teacher, kind of I kind of got excited about hearing that because one, his colleague talked to him about the CLE, but also right before COVID, I was supposed to talk to my former high school chemistry teacher's chemistry class at my high school, but COVID canceled that, and then he retired. So I never got that chance, but I had reached out to him with an email and two concepts I learned in high school chemistry. One helped me in the case, and one helped me explain a case in law school. And so,
Oh, nice.
I'm always happy to impart my knowledge to others. That's just what's good practice.
Excellent.
Yeah.
I'll tell you just a quick aside. It's funny. You remind me of a story. Someone I went to high school with, I took a chemistry class and I was kind of struggling in it. And he helped me through the class. He turned out to be a PhD in chemistry and he worked at Dow Chemical. He was the right guy to help me through it.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So you never know when you're going to get
Right.
get some help when you need it. So it's good to always give it back. I agree with you for sure. Anyway,
Yeah,
listen.
Yeah.
Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I was gonna say always pay it forward because there's always going to be somebody that says, hey, Darin or Jonathan or whoever helped me in the past. Now he needs help. I'm gonna be more apt to help them than somebody that hadn't helped me.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in that. I agree with you. It's just a good thing to. It's better to give, and
Right.
it comes back in different ways. Anyway, listen. Thank you. It was really a pleasure.
Yeah.
I think you're the first guy that I've talked to from St. Louis, so I appreciate that. For everybody, again, Darin Sorrell at Sorrell and Trabi, and this is sponsored by EmotionTrac, which is a legal tech platform. And it helps litigators prepare for mediation and trials with our Insights platform. So thank you again, Darin. I'll let you
My
get back to
pleasure.
being a good lawyer.
Okay. Thanks, Jonathan.
You bet.
Okay.